Hi, now that we're back at school, we have access to the full range of editing software, so we can do a bit more with the slides. So this week, on the top left-hand corner of the screen, there is going to be some Latin words and their English meaning. So for those of you who are interested, while you're following along, if you try and note those down, there'll be a list at the end anyway, but if you try and note those down, we'll do some sentences at the end using those words. Welcome back. Last time we said we'd wrap up the story of Jason. The journey back was much the same as the way there, with lots of treacherous islands, but most are not as famous as the islands that they encountered on the way there. The only notable island was that of the Sirens. The Sirens were monstrous women who would sing songs in order to draw sailors in close and crash them onto the rocks around the island. These Sirens also appear in the Odyssey. When Jason got back, he decided to marry another woman to the one he was supposed to marry, and as a punishment, the gods killed him with the help of his ex-lover, Medea.
We have mostly focused on Greek myths, but today we're going to focus on very Roman myths, and that is being the founding of Rome. There are two main myths surrounding the founding of Rome. The first being that it was founded by Aeneas, which is likely the most historical, but we won't cover that today. The second being Romulus and Remus.
Romulus and Remus were the two sons of Mars and a human woman. When they were born, the oracle said that they would overthrow the ruler of their city. The king at the time, Aemilius, had just taken over power and was very concerned about that. And so he had the young children abandoned on the riverside and told to fend for themselves. The god of the river Tiberius, who lends his name to the river that flows through Rome now, took pity on them, and he sent a female wolf, and she raised them as her own cubs.
This is quite an important symbol for Rome, and they took the wolf to be a sort of city image. The wolf symbolises what each Roman should aspire to be, fierce to their enemy, but also being kind and gentle to their family. After they grew up a bit, a shepherd found them, and they became shepherds, unaware of what they were supposed to become. However, they grew into fine young men, and they were very popular with the leaders within their village.
However, one day while shepherding, they came across Aemilius's men. They had an argument, and Remus was taken away for being aggressive. Romulus used his influence to get a group of men together and go and set Remus free. The next scene is a very stereotypical scene in these kinds of myths. The protagonists get to get revenge against the person who wronged them, even though both parties don't really know who the other is. A sort of accidental revenge. Aemilius, because he thought the boys had been killed, had no idea who Romulus and Remus were, nor did Romulus recognize the king because he was so young when he was abandoned. Romulus went to free his brother and in the process killed the king.
In the aftermath of this, both the boys went to find a place to create a new city from where they would be rulers, because they both had such large followings of people, and they wanted to start a new city. And now we have the heart of the myth. Romulus wanted to choose one hill, the Palatine Hill, a now very famous hill in Rome, and Remus wanted to choose the Aventine Hill. They fought over this, consulted horoscopes, the works, but nothing settled the dispute. Eventually, Romulus started building a wall. Remus, like a good sibling, made fun of how small his wall was. In a fit of rage, Romulus killed his brother and claimed Rome for himself.
Some myths are not that important to the society they come from. This is not one of those. As we mentioned earlier, the symbol of the wolf came to define what Romans valued and took pride in, and the entire story came to define how Romans acted. The fact that their city started with a brother killing another brother came to symbolize the cutthroat nature of Roman politics, and many people tried to live up to that and excuse that behavior when it happened. So, thanks for watching our little piece on the myth of the founding of Rome, and now let's do some sentences. So, sentence 1 is, Romulus defeated Remus and built the city. I'll run through the vocab a bit. There are some endings. You might notice that the vocab I've given you is different to what I showed earlier, and that's because the endings have changed based on what their role is in the sentence. So I'll explain this briefly. So Romulus is just Romulus. It's the name already has the ending you need in it. The two object nouns, Remus becomes remum, because when something's being done to, something's the object of a verb, you add the ending and the same for city. Herbs becomes them, you add the ending m. because it is not doing an action. The action is being done to the city. The two verbs, defeated equals superavit. Because you're making it a past tense, you need to add the vit rather than the o at the end of the verb. Same reason for edicavit. Edificio becomes edificavit because you need to make it past tense. Finally, et is just a small word, means and. It has no endings because it does nothing in the sentence apart from join one sentence to the other. Now for sentence structure, you may already know, but in Latin the verb always goes at the end. So you'll have one verb before the et because it acts as a full stop. So one verb up before the et, and then one verb at the end of the sentence. So I'll give you a little bit of time to do that sentence. Great, if you've completed the sentence correctly, you should have Romulus remum superavit et urbem edificavit. So Romulus defeated Remus and built the city. It's quite a nice sentence. It shows off a couple of different structures in Latin, especially the joining et, and as well as having objects and two verbs in the past. So well done if you got that correct. Great, if you've done that sentence correctly, then you'll have no problem with sentence 2, which is a bit simpler, but some of the explanations are a bit different. So, the child hid in the cave. What have you got for our subject? The child. The child is doing the sentence, he's doing the verb, so it's just liber. Whenever you see a word in Latin, it will usually be given to you in the form that shows it's a subject. The verb is hid, celavit. It has the wit ending on it because it's past, just like the other two. So the next noun is cave, becomes carvo. This ending o is a result of the ablative case. It's a bit tricky to describe, but all you need to know is that when you're in something and use the word in, I'll just come to that in a second, you are in the ablative case, and this dictates the ending o. And then in becomes in. What a surprise. Great feature of Latin is that it has lots of similar words to English, so that's easy. I'll give you a few more minutes. Feel free to pause the video, and yeah, let's see what the sentence is. Great, hopefully you got that right. And the final sentence is liber in carvo celavit. So that's all we got for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next week.